For years, Al Roker and Deborah Roberts have been seen as one of America's most admired couples. Their bond, rooted in decades of perseverance, family, and shared purpose, felt unshakable to viewers across the country. Whether Al was lighting up mornings on TV or Deborah was delivering powerful, award-winning journalism, their partnership always seemed like the quiet force supporting everything they built. Fans described them as warm, grounded, and beautifully human, the kind of couple whose presence could brighten any room, the kind of couple people look to as a blueprint for love that lasts. But as with any marriage lived partly in the public eye, there were layers no one saw. And this story, one shared quietly among friends, colleagues, and those closest to them, offers a rare, emotional glimpse into the pressures that even the strongest relationships can face. Behind the scenes, whispers had begun to form, not about scandal or betrayal, nothing dramatic, but about strain. Strain that comes from two incredibly busy, accomplished people trying to balance careers, family, travel, and the never-ending expectations placed upon them. For Al, health became an increasing focus. He'd spoken openly about his medical challenges over the years, and privately, he longed for a slower, more grounded pace. He cherished their home, their time together, their adult children returning to visit. He spoke about wanting mornings with less rush, afternoons not spent on airplanes, and evenings where the only sound was conversation, not deadlines. Deborah, meanwhile, was still deeply embedded in the world of high-stakes journalism. Her work, important, demanding, often emotionally heavy, required long hours, intense preparation, and frequent travel. She remained driven by purpose, by truth, by the belief that stories matter. Staying still simply wasn't in her nature. Two visions of life, both valid, both rooted in love, and yet slowly, quietly, increasingly incompatible. Insiders recall a series of private conversations between them, conversations filled not with anger, but with exhaustion, with longing, with a growing sense that something had to change, even if neither of them knew exactly how. They weren't arguments, they were moments of truth, moments where Al would say, "I just want more time, with you." And Deborah, with equal sincerity, would respond, "I know, but I can't walk away from who I am." Weeks later, friends close to the couple noticed a shift, gentle but unmistakable. They were trying, deeply, to realign their lives, to find the middle ground between rest and ambition, home and the world, slowing down and pushing forward. But compromise, even with the best intentions, isn't always simple. According to those close to them, Deborah began discussing structured changes, ways to protect her time, their family rhythm, and their emotional space. It wasn't about money or control, it was about defining a future before life swept them away entirely. She wanted clarity, stability, plans that gave her room to breathe without sacrificing her identity. Al was surprised by the firmness of her approach, reportedly stepped back, not out of frustration, but out of reflection. He had always admired Deborah's strength, her intelligence, her strategic brilliance, but hearing her lay out such precise expectations left him quiet, thoughtful, emotional. It wasn't a confrontation, it was a crossroads. Friends say Al reacted not with anger, but with a calm, steady grace that those who know him well have seen many times before. He didn't resist, he didn't push. Instead, he asked himself the hardest question. What do we need, not as individuals, but as a family, to stay whole? That question became the anchor for what followed. Rather than digging in or escalating tension, Al focused on cooperation, on empathy, on understanding why Deborah felt the need to set boundaries and reclaim parts of her life that had been overshadowed by constant pressure. She recognized the weight she carried, the expectations placed upon her, the emotional toll of her work. Deborah, in turn, began to see Al's longing for peace not as retreat, but as wisdom, as a desire to preserve the foundation they'd built over decades. This wasn't a story about breaking apart. It was a story about recalibrating, about two people choosing to fight for their marriage in a different way. Over time, those close to them say the couple began crafting a new dynamic, a softer balance between ambition and rest, a better rhythm between travel and home, a deeper understanding that careers evolve, health changes, and love must evolve with them. The emotional arc of this journey, quiet, raw, and honest, resonates deeply with anyone over 60 who has lived long enough to know that real relationships aren't defined by perfection. They're defined by compassion, by flexibility, by the courage to say, let's try this again together. And that is what makes Al Roker and Deborah Roberts so admired. Not that they are flawless, but that they are real. They face pressure, change, aging, and shifting seasons of life just like anyone else. And through it all, they continue choosing each other. If you found this heartfelt reflection meaningful, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on notifications. More deep dives into the lives beyond the public personas are on the way.